good to go? Good evening. Thank you. I'm Bobby Clark, CEO of the Clark Group. I want to thank everybody for coming out tonight for a very special presentation. I am so excited about the introduction of the Kentucky Almanac. When we finish this very short program, we'll try to keep you about 10 minutes, maybe not any more than that. After that, we'll come next door and you can take a look at the book if you haven't seen it yet. I want to thank all of the contributors that are here tonight. We couldn't have done this project without the help of over 180 Kentuckians, experts in their field throughout the Commonwealth, to put this exciting new historic project together. And right now I'd like to introduce Sylvia Lovely. She is the head of the Kentucky League of Cities. She wrote our city section and has been a great fan and supporter of ours. Sylvia Lovely.
And Sam, is Sam here tonight? Did I miss him?
Yes, Sam. He'll probably show up a little bit.
Okay, all right. Golly, you know, I always speak with notes because I get so excited about something like this. I could go on and on and on, and I'd far exceed your 10 minutes. But isn't this great?
Yeah.
I love this. Wow. Also, in addition to being executive director of the Kentucky League of Cities, I'm also the president of the New Cities Foundation. That's my newest progeny, and it's about citizenship and how it's changed in the 21st century. And I got to tell both of you that I was traveling a lot over the last couple of weeks and talking about my New Cities principles and about city building. And I decided to kind of give it a label. I've even been in Louisiana, which is sort of a place down on its luck, as we well know. And I gave it a label called the Excitement Tour. Because what I was telling people is that that is the most missing piece that I see. There's sort of a malaise that has taken over in all of our communities, and people feel overwhelmed, and they feel like they really can't make a difference. And I think that maybe here in Kentucky, we found the key. And it is the first almanac in 150 years. And I think maybe we can restore excitement in Kentucky to move ourselves forward. What do you think?
Yeah.
Well, I'm real excited about it, and of course I'm thrilled with the city section. I love that. I thank you so much, and you did such a beautiful job with my little piece. Ooh, 275, that's the page, okay? Sorry. But it is important to me that we talk about our cities and our counties and our communities, and there's a section on each of those, and sections on so many things. And there's all kinds of wonderful fun facts, and I want to invite you to read the Athenian Oath that's in there too, and about how you transmit the city and the community better than when you found it. And it is about a lot of things about citizenship and about our communities and about our places and how we live and all of that. And all kinds of interesting sports facts. And did I mention that John McGill, my very own John McGill, where's John? Did he leave us? Oh, John wrote and edited the sports section. I'm so proud of him for that. I love that. He's a very famous writer and columnist that he's done that, and Billy Reed is here as well. Thank you. And gosh, there's just too many things to do and say here. But I do want to say that there are a number of serious facts, fun facts, scary facts, and all of that kind of stuff. And what is that one, John, that you mentioned, that the Danny Sullivan at the Indy 500 just found out how scary it can be to be going 200 miles an hour backwards into a wall at the Indy 500. Anyway, that's just one little tiny thing. But I do want to mention in closing that in speaking of the historical facts that are there and all that it says about our places, that there is someone who really cast a huge presence upon this event here today, and that's Dr. Thomas Clark. And I would say that he is smiling upon us, and he's saying, go for it, good work, my friends. And I think he would say, take this and embed it, and take it back to your communities and take it back to the different groups that you speak to, and take this book forth and restore the kind of excitement in Kentucky that we need to really, truly move ourselves forward. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to even speak here today about this wonderful, wonderful treasure. Thanks.
Okay. Now I would like to introduce former Justice Jim Keller. He is going to say a few words. This was his courtroom, and I'll just turn the program briefly over to him. Justice Keller.
Now, as he's coming up here, I want to tell you that 1,000 years ago, as a recovering attorney, I can tell you that I used to sit in this very courtroom and practice. Your Honor, this is my motion. No. As everybody else was coming up here in front of me, and he was very austere at that point in time, and I would go, no, that's not what I want to say. I want to say, Your Honor, Justice Keller.
Thank you, Lord.
It's great. If you look at it, well, I started looking at it last night, and sometime or another this morning I said, well, where'd my wife go? You know? And I said, Beth, where are you? She says, in bed. You know, yelled from back of there. And so it's just really interesting, and I thought it was going to be a little small almanac, but man, it's got everything in it. Well, this was my courtroom for quite a few years. I was over here as circuit judge for 23 years, and this courtroom used to be turned around. Some of you may remember, I don't, but it used to face the other way. This back used to be up here, and one of the things that I'm excited about that Ed Hoolhead and them finally found the eagle that went on the back of the bench up there, and we had all those old photographs of it, and 2 or 3 times Donnie Taylor and I would hear about somebody that had that eagle, and no, I don't have that eagle. You know, they had another one, and I don't know how they found this thing, but it's really great because if you look at the old photographs, you'll see that eagle up there, and I'll tell you something else you'll see in those old photographs. Is that chair up there? Yes, there's a chair up there. Donnie, remember that old red church set up there? It's still there. And Foster, I was looking over at Tim Cone, who has an interest in history. Of course, his dad was the chair of the history department at the University of Kentucky. Has taken old photographs of Lexington. And in Guest Manley's office over there, they're all over. And it really looks neat. And sometimes we'll have people come there and say, we just want to look at the photographs, you know. And so what about retaining us as attorney? But I was looking at one today, and I think it was about the time they first opened this courthouse, around 1900. I think they originally opened about 1901 because this is, I think, 4th courthouse for Lexington. Originally in 1796, we think the first court was held in Fayette County, and it's down here on the corner of Main and Broadway, where the Shays is located now. We think that's where the first court. But after that time, Virginia gave us this piece of property here, and I was telling a story today. I almost won this courthouse one time in a lawsuit. Foster, I don't want to date you, but you probably remember this when they was trying to put the magistrates out here. You remember you used to have the magistrates in the courthouse. All Gardner, you remember that. And they had all the magistrates, had all offices in here. The county judge, the county road engineer, the PVA, it's the sheriff's office. The county police were downstairs, all the offices, and they just kind of gradually moved out to give the courts more room. But it's been a neat place to live for so much of my life. I said I was really fortunate. I never had to come to work a day in my life when I was a circuit judge. It was just a nice place to come, and we had such a good gang of people here in this courthouse, and they call them the courthouse gang. And I remember what Buzz Basler said at one time. It's a pretty good gang of people. But the magistrates, they divided the courthouse into three districts because the magistrate had to have their office in their district. And so one of them's in one corner, one is in another corner, and another's in another corner. And so I filed, they were getting ready to throw them out, and I represented one of the magistrates and filed a lawsuit to keep them here. And had an old deed that said the property was conveyed to the magistrates of Fayette County. And I thought that's pretty close to winning the thing to Jim Park, who is also a historian, did some law research and found out that that had been superseded by fiscal court. And so we were out of court, didn't get to keep the courthouse. But there's a lot of history in this courthouse, and I'm glad to keep it as a history museum. And I like history, and I'm just so glad that they've done this. And you know, somebody said, "Well, let me look at it," and I said, "No," because you know people take your book and they'll look at it. I said, "They're going to sell them." I said $20 a piece, and I don't think it's that much, is it? $19.95. Yeah. Okay. And I said, "I'll buy you one for Christmas, but I'm not going to let you have my almanac." And, but I appreciate you letting me come here and say a few words. And I see a lot of people. See Judge Linnell there, who practiced in this courtroom before me. A lot of other people, Sandy, Rigger, and brings back memories. And it's a good old courthouse. Let's keep it that way. Thank you.
Well, as you know, we wouldn't have been able to accomplish that 784, what we're considering a tome now, without the help of all of our contributing writers. And if you contributed anything, food, support, money, articles, hopes, dreams, calendars, photographs, stand up. Everybody. Oh, Sid, don't frown at me like that. Stand up. Everybody stand up. Now, one of the most prevalent questions that were asked is, why did it take 150 years for you to decide to do an almanac? And why did you finally decide to do that? Jim Ogle is back in the my far right corner, who is the news director for WKYT Channel 27, and we actually have gone back 1999, Bobby? 1998. Jim Ogle called us and said, "Guys, you do a great job on the Gold Book. Why haven't you thought about doing an almanac? Kentucky hasn't had an almanac, doesn't have an almanac. Why don't you consider doing that?" And we have unearthed that very small business plan that we did. We had a fairly minimum number. We decided we might try 5,000, and at that time, 5,000 units, we decided that we weren't ready. And we weren't. You know, knowing when is the right time to do things is a very critical part of a project, and whether that project is successful or not. Then as we kind of went into the last year, Sam Stevens, who's one of our business partners, and probably one of the best things that ever happened to us in terms of support and contribution, he kept promoting the concept of let's do an almanac. And then we had the wonderful good fortune of talking with Dr. Tom Clark. And when Dr. Clark agreed to do our foreword, which that foreword in and of itself is sufficient enough, without the rest of the wonderful contributions, to carry forth the day that this almanac can really mean something. Then we add all of the rest of the contributing writers in terms of the experts, the data. We have Colonel Claude Hammond here with us, who, of course, by definition, an almanac must have an astronomical calendar. By definition, an almanac must be filled with interesting, fascinating facts and data. And then we found, through thank goodness to Miss Amelia Catherine Clark here, as her daddy was renewing some books for her at the Lexington Public Library, we actually found, and did not know until that time, that we had in Kentucky the first almanac that was printed in 1788, 1 year after we had the first newspaper. Now, I take a moment to describe that to you because it was instrumental in Kentucky becoming a state. It was instrumental in Kentucky at that time, which was the wild, wild west. This was a dangerous place to live. This was not a place to bring your family. This was a place where if you came to start a business, you weren't quite sure what was going to happen with that business. So you had someone like John Bradford, and I know that somewhere or the other, John Bradford has got to be here someplace with us, promoting us, just like I think. And Sylvia, thank you for those kind words and the thought that Dr. Clark is supporting us now too. But in doing this almanac, we had lots and lots of different ideas, lots of different people contributing. And we tried to make every fact especially interesting. Every page, you might turn a different page and see something unique. I would like to especially recognize Scott Reisner, who is our graphics designer, who's going to continue to help us with our website that will be interactive and be actually, I guess, in January. We're not going to give the date just yet. Sid Webb walks back in at a very appropriate time. Sid Webb is our photo editor and has contributed many, many of the photographs, which makes our almanac fairly unique in terms of almanacs. So thanks to each and every one of you. And I'm not quite sure what's supposed to happen next, but I think we have a special guest.
We have a special guest.
We have a special guest this evening that we're actually surprised to see because it's been a couple of decades since he's been here. Well, my goodness, I believe it may be John Bradford himself. John Bradford.
Yes, sir.
So nice to meet you. Would you mind to come up and say a few words to our audience? Have you seen the new almanac? When did you arrive? Why are you here? Please, sir. This is a microphone. It will allow your voice to be projected to our wonderful audience here. John Bradford, the first state printer of this Commonwealth. Ladies and gentlemen, John Bradford.
Certainly a fine-looking group of people. All of you are Kentuckians, I presume. And those of you who were not born here, perhaps will make Kentucky your home now. And thinking back over the years, it's been a long time. Sometimes my mind begins to drift, you know. I forget how old I am sometimes.
When were you born?
Well, there's been a debate over that. Some say I was born in 1747. Some say I was born in 1749. Actually, I think Tom Clark said that I was born in 1749. I'd rather go with him, I think, because 2 years younger. And then when you're 258 years old, it makes a difference.
Were you looking for this?
Yes, I brought
You
with me.
misplaced it, right?
Yes, I stayed up all night last night to prepare this for you. By the way, are you related to any relation to George?
Maybe a distant cousin.
Gen-
I'm sure for sure. You
General
mean George?
General George.
General George?
Yeah.
Yeah.
George
Maybe a
Rogers.
cousin. Yes, sir.
Yeah, he was always philandering around. I'm not sure what he was up to, but he usually got things done. He was always wanting to go out west, you know.
Right.
And he had that other fellow with him, name of Lewis, I believe. Can't remember too well now, but
They were related, weren't they?
I'm not real sure. They were in Louisville, and of course, my friend over here in Scott County, Reverend Craig, he's supposed to be putting together some spirits of something that called well, whiskey. You know, I don't know what they're going to call it, but we'll see one of these days, I guess. I would like to could you help me?
Yes, sir.
My hands are not too steady these days.
Well, after 250 years, expect.
Well, well, thank you. Let me see if I can read this. My glasses are not too good anymore. I do need new glasses. This is a proclamation by John Bradford, myself, of course, publisher of the Kentucky Almanac, 1788. To all to whom these presents shall come. Now, if I make a mistake, you'll help me out here, I guess. Whereas, I, John Bradford of Lexington, Kentucky, does hereby recognize and congratulate the Clark Group for reviving the Kentucky Almanac in this year, 2005. And whereas, after being absent for 150 years, this new Clark's Kentucky Almanac and Book of Facts will now continue to be published from this year forward until such time as history shall allow. And whereas, let it be known that all Kentuckians shall have at least one copy of the Almanac in their possession at all times for the purpose of their education, enjoyment, and the settling of arguments. And whereas, after completing this most arduous task and extraordinary accomplishment, the Clark Group, that's you folks, yes, right? Is sure to be rewarded by Kentuckians everywhere who will benefit greatly from the, I do need new glasses, from the vast information and facts contained therein. Now therefore, I, John Bradford, publisher of the first Kentucky Almanac of 1788, do hereby proclaim the Clark Group as the new official publisher of the Kentucky Almanac, done at the Lexington History Museum, Lexington, Fayette County, Kentucky, the 17th day of December of 2005, and in the 213th year of the Commonwealth.
I would have one question. How long did it take you to feel that it was safe for your family to join you in this wild, wild land of Kentucky?
Oh, I don't know, it took about 10 years or so, I think.
And why did you like Kentucky so that you decided to move here from that safe place of Virginia? What led you here, sir?
Well, I was young and foolish. and given to a little drink every now and then. Actually, my brother Philly and I, when we arrived here, there wasn't a whole lot here, but of course folks kept saying, John, you've got to start a newspaper or something. We don't know what's going on in the world. So I said, well, where can we get a printing press? So Fielding and I took it upon ourselves to go to Philadelphia, and we brought back a printing press, load of type and everything, and the darn thing turned over. We hit a rock or two up in Maysville after we got off the boat, and turned over, and we lost about half a day or so just gathering up that darn type. I didn't know anything about printing, but you know, I had a young fella here in Lexington that I hired. I let him come in. He used to sweep the floor. His name was Sam, and we called him Young Sam. He was about 9 years old. wasn't just a little spindly thing. But he always kept saying, Mr. Bradford, I want to go out and see if we can get some advertisers. I said, no, we don't want anything like that. So we were selling it for 12.5 cents. I thought that was enough. We didn't want to make any money really, and but he kept at it. He just wouldn't give up.
And nothing has changed.
I appreciate it. It's my pleasure. Thank you.
And here's to young Sam, the marketer.
Thank you, and we're going to end the program tonight. Thank you for coming tonight with a video that Michael Breeding has produced for us. We debuted the video at our June 1 Statehood Day event in Frankfurt. Michael has cut it down to about 4 minutes for your enjoyment, but we think it will kick off the reception tonight, and we'll go next door and have some food and drink and enjoy the rest of the evening. Again, thank you so much, and now it's for the video. Thank you, Michael, for your help.